Well, let's, on that note, take a couple more questions. I think I was handed a few that came in, so let me grab these. Our next question from Rochelle. Rochelle from Greensboro would like to know, um, can your law firm represent me if I've already spoken with the adjuster and signed paperwork?
Well, it depends on what paperwork she signed. If she signed a release, unfortunately, she's going to be out of luck, and that's why the insurance companies nowadays, have an internal policy that they need to be out to the client, the injured person, within 24 or 48 hours, and they have a release with them. And sometimes it's called a schedule release, where it says, we'll pay up to X amount of dollars your medical bills. Well, if you read the fine print, it's the medical bills they consider that are reasonable and necessary. Okay, so if that person, signs that release, unfortunately, that case is over with. So they got to be careful about what they sign. So if they've just talked to an adjuster, fine. We'll be glad to, represent them. But
Sure.
if they've signed something, and there's a lot of circumstances that we've been able to get that release thrown out. Maybe the person didn't understand. Maybe was on medication at the time. But it certainly is a big hurdle to overcome.
Right. Medicated, maybe not from the accident, but maybe prior to the accident?
Well, maybe when they sign that release, they're on medication. They've got to have the ability to contract, and so that's
Sure.
what we try to look at. Did they have that ability to contract?
Do you have an example of someone who signed away the rights? Let's say they signed, and then turns out.
This year I had a case where a client came in and signed a release. 2 days after the accident, just thought they had neck pain. And I think it was $2,000 or something they signed and got. They end up going to an orthopedic surgeon, a couple weeks later, because it's hard to get into the doctor. End up having a herniated disc, and now they need surgery, and that case has already been settled.
So now what does that person do? Are they just
They're out of luck, right?
Okay. Good reason to contact an attorney.